People don't just disappear. That is the lie we tell ourselves to feel safe. We believe that vanishing requires chaos, screams, violence, a struggle someone would notice. We believe there must be evidence left behind, something tangible to explain the absence. But there is a place in southwestern Vermont that quietly dismantles that belief. A place where people did not vanish dramatically, but gently, almost politely, stepping out of the world without resistance. A place locals learned long ago not to challenge. They called it the Bennington Triangle. I want you to picture it as it appears today. Tall trees standing shoulder to shoulder, their leaves whispering in the wind. Trails worn smooth by decades of hikers' boots. The air clean, cool, deceptively calm. If you didn't know the history, you would never suspect that this forest has swallowed people whole, that it has taken experienced hunters, bright young students, war veterans, and even a child without ever explaining itself. And yet, long before modern maps gave this place a name, Native American tribes avoided Glastenbury Mountain entirely. They believed the land was cursed, not haunted in the way stories often exaggerate, but wrong, as if something there disrupted the natural order, as if the mountain itself did not want to be known. The first disappearance that would later be defined the Bennington Triangle happened in November of 1945, just as America was learning how to breathe again after the war. His name was Mitty Rivers, and unlike many victims who would follow, Rivers was not reckless or inexperienced. He was a seasoned outdoorsman, a man who knew the forest the way others knew their own homes. On that cold November day, Rivers joined a group of hunters near Glastenbury Mountain. The terrain was familiar. The plan was simple. At some point during the hunt, Rivers walked slightly ahead of the group, just far enough to be out of sight, but not far enough to cause concern. He didn't announce he was leaving. He didn't take a wrong turn. He simply stepped forward and never came back. At first, the others assumed he would reappear any second. Experienced hunters often circle back. Minutes passed, then more time. His name was called into the trees, the sounds swallowed almost immediately by the dense forest. When it became clear something was wrong, search efforts began quickly and aggressively. Hundreds of volunteers combed the area. Dogs were brought in. But something strange happened, something that would repeat itself again and again in the Bennington Triangle. There were no tracks, no broken branches, no blood, no indication Mitty Rivers had fallen, been attacked, or even passed through certain areas at all. It was as if the forest had erased him, not hidden him, erased him. His body was never found. One disappearance might be explained away. People get lost, accidents happen. But the mountain was not finished. Just 1 year later, in December of 1946, it took someone completely different. Paula Jean Weldon was 18 years old, a college student with her whole life stretching ahead of her. On the afternoon she vanished, she set out for a hike along the Long Trail, a well-marked path that passed near Glastenbury Mountain. This was not an isolated wilderness trek. This was a known trail. People saw her that day. Witnesses remembered her clearly, especially the red jacket she wore as she walked with confidence, appearing calm and focused. Nothing about her behavior suggested fear, distress, or confusion. And then she was gone. No one heard a scream. No one saw her leave the trail. There was no sign of a fall, no discarded clothing, no belongings left behind. Paula Jean Weldon simply ceased to exist. The search that followed became one of the largest in Vermont's history. Military personnel joined local volunteers. The forest was combed inch by inch. Every logical explanation was tested and failed. No remains were ever recovered. No evidence surfaced. The mountain kept her completely. By this point,
locals were no longer dismissing these events as coincidence. Something about Glastenbury Mountain felt wrong. The disappearances did not follow predictable patterns. They happened in daylight. They happened to capable people. They happened quietly, and the silence surrounding them was perhaps the most disturbing part. Then, in 1950, the Bennington Triangle did something that shattered all remaining assumptions about how disappearances work. It took a man without the forest ever touching him. James Tedford was a World War II veteran, a man who had survived chaos, violence, and uncertainty and come home. One day, he boarded a bus traveling through Bennington. Other passengers noticed him. Some remembered seeing him sleeping peacefully in his seat as the bus made its stops. People got on, people got off. The journey continued normally. But when the bus reached its destination, James Tedford was gone. His luggage remained in the overhead rack. His ticket stub was still there. No one had seen him stand up. No one had seen him exit. He vanished from a moving vehicle surrounded by witnesses. Not a single explanation has ever accounted for how that is possible. By now, the Bennington Triangle had crossed an invisible line. This was no longer about people getting lost in the woods. Whatever was happening did not require isolation, darkness, or opportunity. It did not need secrecy. And in 1950, it proved that in the most devastating way possible, by taking a child. 8-year-old Paul Jepson was playing near his family's farm, a place where children had played safely countless times before. His mother stepped away briefly, just minutes. When she returned, Paul was gone. Search dogs were brought in and traced his scent to a nearby road. And then, suddenly, the trail ended. No wandering path, no signs of struggle, no indication he had been carried away. It was as if he had been lifted straight out of reality. No ransom was ever demanded, no suspects were identified. Paul Jepson was never found. By this point, fear had settled deeply into the region, not the loud kind, but the quiet kind that lingers in the back of the mind, the kind that makes people lower their voices when they speak about certain places, the kind that turns warnings into whispers. And yet, the mountain was not done revealing how little it cared about patterns or fairness. Later that same year, it returned someone, but only after ensuring the return made no sense at all. Frida Langer was an experienced hiker. She had companions with her when she slipped into a stream during a walk near Glastenbury Mountain. Wet and uncomfortable, she told them she would return to camp to change her clothes. It was a short, logical decision. No one questioned. She never returned. Searches were conducted thoroughly and repeatedly. Nothing was found. Then, months later, her body appeared, lying in an area that had already been searched multiple times. No clear cause of death, no explanation for why her remains were suddenly there when they had not been before. It was as if the mountain had decided to give one back, but only one, and only on its own terms. By the early 1950s, the Bennington Triangle was no longer just a location. It was a question, a warning, a place that did not behave like other places. Men, women, children, veterans, students. It did not discriminate. It selected. And the most unsettling part was not what was known, but what wasn't. No single theory could explain it all. And as people would soon discover, every attempt to rationalize what was happening only led to deeper uncertainty. Because the more you look at the Bennington Triangle, the clearer one thing becomes. This was not chaos. This was not randomness. And whatever was happening there was not finished yet.
By the time the final disappearance occurred, the region surrounding Glastenbury Mountain had already changed. People did not speak about the forest the way they once had. Hunters avoided certain routes. Hikers turned back without fully understanding why. Even those who dismissed the stories as exaggeration admitted that something about the land felt off. The quiet wasn't peaceful, it was watchful. And the deeper investigators looked into the Bennington Triangle, the more they realized that traditional explanations collapsed under their own weight. The most common theory, accidental death, fails almost immediately. Yes, wilderness can be unforgiving. People fall, get lost, succumb to exposure, but accidents leave evidence. They leave trails, broken foliage, belongings, remains. In Bennington, evidence stops abruptly. Midi Rivers left no tracks. Paula Weldon vanished from a marked trail in daylight. Paul Jepson's scent ended as if the ground itself refused to carry it further. And James Tedford did not disappear into nature at all. He vanished from a bus, in motion, surrounded by other human beings. No accident explains that. Serial killer theories surfaced next, as they often do when fear demands a human face. But no suspect ever emerged. The victims shared no profile that would make sense for a predator. The disappearances spanned years, genders, ages, and circumstances. A killer would leave patterns, habits, mistakes, a body eventually. Bennington offered none. Even Frida Langer's body, the only one recovered, raised more questions than answers. Why was she found in an area already searched? Why was there no clear cause of death? Why did the mountain return her at all when it had kept everyone else? Then came the scientific explanations, attempts to ground the mystery in measurable phenomena. Some researchers pointed to magnetic anomalies in the region, suggesting that unusual geological conditions could interfere with navigation and perception. But compasses failing does not explain vanishing without trace. Disorientation does not account for luggage left behind on a bus, and confusion does not selectively erase evidence. The science reached its limits quickly, leaving behind a hollow sense that something essential was missing. That absence pushed some to consider stranger possibilities. The idea of time slips, moments where reality fractures and individuals step into a different moment altogether. A misaligned second, a fold in time. According to this theory, the victims did not die. They simply moved into a place where they no longer intersected with our world. It would explain the suddenness, the lack of struggle, the way evidence stops as if cut clean. But it raises a far more disturbing question. If that is true, where did they go? And more importantly, are they aware they're gone? Others went further, whispering about portals, interdimensional rifts, or gateways tied to the land itself, places where the barrier between worlds is thinner, weaker, and unpredictable. This idea is often dismissed as fantasy until one remembers that Native American tribes avoided Glastenbury Mountain long before any of these disappearances occurred. They spoke of spirits, of a mountain that consumed those who lingered too long, of a place that did not want human presence. These were not stories told for entertainment. They were warnings, and warnings, unlike myths, are meant to be heeded. What makes the Bennington Triangle truly unsettling is not any single feeling, but the way none of them fully fail and none of them fully succeed. Each explanation accounts for one aspect while collapsing under another. Together they form a fractured mirror, reflecting something we cannot fully see, a phenomenon that does not operate according to human logic, a force that does not announce itself, does not threaten, and does not chase. It waits, and when conditions align, whatever those conditions may be, it opens briefly, silently, and takes. Decades have passed since the last recorded disappearance associated with the Bennington Triangle. No new evidence has surfaced, no confessions, no remains. The mountain still stands, unchanged. Trails still wind through the forest. People still hike there today, unaware of the history beneath their feet, or worse, aware but convinced it won't happen to them.
Because the most dangerous thing about places like this is not that they are active all the time, it is that they are selective, dormant, patient. And that brings us to the most terrifying possibility of all. What if the Bennington Triangle does not kill? What if it relocates? What if those who vanished didn't die in the forest, on the trail, or on that bus, but simply went somewhere else, somewhere just beyond reach, somewhere they cannot return from? And if that is true, then the silence surrounding these cases is not empty, it is occupied. The mystery remains unsolved, not because investigators failed, but because the phenomenon itself refuses resolution. It leaves no loose ends to pull, no clues to follow. It does not want to be understood, and perhaps that is the point. Some places exist outside our need for explanation. They are not puzzles to solve, but boundaries to respect. The Bennington Triangle does not announce itself. It does not warn. It does not explain. It simply waits. If you stayed until the end of this story, then you're not just listening, you're searching. And that curiosity is exactly why places like the Bennington Triangle continue to hold power over us. Because once you know they exist, you can never unknow them. So if mysteries like this keep your mind awake long after the screen goes dark, make sure you're subscribed to Vanished and Unsolved and turn on notifications. There are places like this all over the world, and some of them are still active. Until next time, keep your lights low, your mind open, and remember, some places don't want to be understood.